All right, so I got Stephen. Stephen here. Stephen joined the mentorship. I say a couple of months ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say 2 months ago.
Yeah. So tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about like your story, like where you were at before you joined, and what you're doing business wise and things like that.
hmm Yeah, so I was mainly focused in crypto. So I was focused as a video editor, working on crypto projects, bit of graphic design here and there. And then I just realized like that industry wasn't sustainable, and I'd seen a lot of hype with AI automations, and I understood it is an important skill to learn in this day and age. So I was doing a lot of digging, a lot of researching, and I found that a lot of people were giving away n8n templates, and it felt great getting the templates, but then I wasn't actually translating it into real world knowledge because I wasn't getting in there and actually giving it a crack. And yeah, that's essentially how I found you.
Yeah, there's a lot of workflows out there, and most people just give the JSON, which is not really that helpful if you don't know how to set it up and
Mm.
what data is getting passed to the nodes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally feel you on that. And kind of, had you had any experience building before you jumped in? Nothing.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So I think it was about So when I was looking at automations, it was probably like a 3, 4 day period where I was just I was just getting all the templates I could. And I hit like the end of the third day and I was like, this is not right. Like I'm just gonna have to find someone that could kind of navigate me because you have all the experts giving templates, but they're not actually going into detail. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So kind of like
Mhm.
the frustration for you was like, I've got these templates, but I'm not really sure how to set them up and I can't get them working. Would that
Yeah,
be?
exactly. Yeah. There some people give away like 30 to 40, 50 step nodes. And it's like, I just want to learn how to do maybe things that involve 5 nodes. So, and that was a thing I learned with you as well, was it was a tweet you had and it was about um, the simplicity in the builds. The simple builds actually, for the most part, generate a lot of the output in terms of solving problems. And that's something I've realized over time is that you can have all these flashy n8n templates, but if you don't understand how it works and if it doesn't actually drive a solid ROI or a good output for clients, it doesn't matter. So
Yeah.
mm,
I've seen those workflows as well, the big spider diagram stuff with 50 nodes, and I, I can almost guarantee they probably don't work. They probably don't work, and you're never going to see that in one of my clients' accounts because we break it down into
mm,
like individual like processes. You can have multiple different workflows all contributing towards the same goal, but yeah,
mm.
keeping it simple, especially when you're getting started as well, is it's going to allow you to build momentum faster than just running into error after error after error, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's even the way you structured your mentorship as well. So it was actually building the foundations and the fundamentals first. And then once you've got that understanding, then you can start building a little bit more complexity with those multi-step workflows and stuff. So the way you kind of made it sequential helped, for me anyway, I can speak for myself, was it helped me understand how to build those blocks in my mind and to become, as you were talking about, like becoming like a better systems thinker, is those like mental models and the mindsets are quite important when it comes to these workflows. So like one little piece of detail or code that's off is going to affect the whole workflow. So yeah, it's being able to slowly build that sort of primer in your brain to solve problems. So yeah.
Totally. It's a huge part of it, like understanding what to do before you actually build.
Mm,
Yeah, instead of just jumping in and throwing some nodes around, because
yeah, yeah.
you get lost pretty quick.
Yeah, that
And
was another thing that made sense as well. Was well, if I'm going to think of a problem or a build that I want to tackle, then it's probably best I sit down with a pen and paper and actually try and understand myself first, rather than go to AI or try and not build that part of my mind. And that helped massively. So
Yeah.
using like simple diagrams, just pulling the pieces together. It might not look perfect at first, but the more I was doing that, the more I was like, oh, okay, I actually understand how to think about this now. So super helpful.
Yeah, that's huge. That is huge.
Mm, yeah.
Um, had you like considered any other solutions or programs or anything like this when you were thinking about getting into building automations?
Mhm. When I was looking on Twitter, I didn't see many mentorships. I don't remember who. I think there was one other person. Um, but I just seen that you're building quite a quick following, even based on like your expertise with marketing and the results you've gotten for clients. Um, it kind of seemed like a no-brainer just to bite the bullet straight away. Like I could have spent an extra couple of weeks doing more research on you, but I just had a good feeling that the mentorship was going to be good, and I'm thankful that I did join. So even in terms of um, getting help with a potential client, so I I got in contact with a TikTok agency in person, and they end up asking if I wanted to build them a workflow. So decided to, and threw myself in the deep end, as you as you probably know. It took a little bit more time than expected for myself to figure it out, but you kind of gave me a framework and an understanding on how to kind of how you would approach it. And yeah, so I eventually got down to it, and it took me about 3 weeks to finish the build. But overall, I'm happy with the fact that I was able to build that because I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's a simple workflow.
Uh,
But again, I wouldn't have been able to understand or have the persistence to actually crack it over time. So I was happy with my efforts. Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
good job on that. Really good job.
Mm,
It's
yeah.
not an easy thing to do to throw yourself in the deep end and like commit to somebody and say, yes, I can do this when you have no idea
Yeah.
what really how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
But by doing that, you learn so much because you've got a bit of a
Each.
deadline and kind of forces you to like do the work.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. And it showed me as well that you can see all the templates online, all these fancy creative templates and these massive workflows. But when I spoke to the client and then we identified like the highest friction thing that could be automated, which was a lead agent with some personalization in the initial cold email, was um, sometimes the those boring workflows like leads and emails are the ones that probably have the most opportunity. So that was a big thing for me to understand as well. Was like it's not always about doing the fancy pretty thing. It's just about getting results. So that was a big thing I learned during that.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
how can you add the most value? What's the low hanging fruit here?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
there's many ways you can go. You can buy a ready-made solution. There's loads of great stuff out there, tools and SaaS, right? You can build it yourself, or you can do like a hybrid of just part manual, part like LLM. You know, a few
Yeah.
ways to go about it.
Mhm.
Yeah, before you joined, Stephen, was there anything that you were kind of like I don't know skeptical about or were unsure?
In terms of your mentorship in particular,
Yeah.
or
Did you have any like reservations before you jumped in?
I think there was an initial thing just because normally I would spend a bit of time researching if I'm going to go into a mentorship or and spend some money, but I didn't actually. I don't know. I don't want to say like it was intuition or anything because that could be completely wrong. But I don't know. I think it was just based on the results you were getting for your clients. I was like, this is a guy that I'd like to learn from. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you weren't one of those scammers that are like, hey, I'm going to get you in a mentorship and just give you a couple of workflows and that's it, and then disappear. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I think we were chatting on X beforehand, right? And so, we were having that conversation, and I think you're one of the first students to join. So,
Mm,
yeah, I appreciate you taking the leap because, a bunch of other people have done that as well, and I think we're building something pretty cool here.
Hmm.
Was there,
Massively.
was there any like aha moment or like specific breakthrough, whether it was like a piece of content or something that you discovered while building?
Mm. It's a good question. I feel like I had so many aha moments. One specific one would be, I guess a big thing is basically preempting or understanding where your workflows are going to more than likely going to fail or break. So learning loops, um, error handling, I think are the biggest ones as well. So even for the example, when I was creating that agent for that workflow for that client was understanding that if I don't create fallbacks or handle any errors and I just pass it off as it is, um, at some point it's eventually going to break. I don't think n8n is perfect, but um, I think error handling is one of the big aha moments I had. And also, I think it's in one of the later weeks as well, which I won't go too much into, but basically being able to build front
Yeah,
ends with the back end of an automation, I think that's huge because as you've stated as well, is that it's and it then on the back end looks ugly. So like business owners probably don't want to go in and start clicking random execute workflows and watch all these things move around and see the errors. So yeah, to be able to like integrate a front end onto the back end as well, I think that was a huge aha moment because there's so much opportunity in that. And you've kind of laid it out quite simply. So and in detail.
yeah, that's kind of the more advanced stuff once
Yeah.
you're comfortable with the workflows. But yeah, when you're working with a client, if you can present it with a front end,
Mm.
it just increases the perceived value
Yeah.
of what you're doing for them. And
Hmm.
it's like you've created like your own SaaS tool for them,
Yeah,
which is super cool.
exactly.
What do you
And
think?
also your n8n guide as well. Being able to being able to just like go through what you had listed would be the most important in terms of the triggers and how important like APIs are, HTTP requests, things like this are kind of like because I hadn't consumed too much information to be able to come in and get that guide and start learning from that was massive as well. So I'm not going through and trying to use 80 different triggers. Most of them I'm probably never going to use. So
Yeah,
just focusing on what's most important and just nail that first and then work from there.
definitely.
Mm.
Has any of the stuff that you've learned like had an impact on uh, areas of your life, like I don't know, like other areas of your life in terms of like how you think about things? Does that
In
make sense?
terms of automations in particular, or
I mean, like the value you got from the program, like is that something that you're going to be able to like I guess move forward and find some more clients, or like what's the next steps for you with this?
Mhm. um, that's a great question. I see a lot more opportunity now. Building that, like building the fundamentals, understanding how incredible this skill is, and then seeing that majority of businesses aren't using AI in general, let alone automation. So it's, um, I have friends and I have family that have businesses and that are drowning in their work. So um, to be able to go out there and help friends and family, or even go out and reaching clients as well, that's those are going to be my next steps. So I was even approached by a company to start working with them unrelated to AI. But I was actually talking to them today in person, and I mentioned AI automations and how they're doing their whole entire business is done manually and nothing's been automated yet. So to be able to have that skill and going, I can probably, with my skill level, I'm like, I could probably knock 10 to 20% out and automate that. And that is like, to me, is like, that's one of the biggest levers you can pull. For me, anyway, that's how I feel. But I'm just seeing tons of opportunities and I'm seeing tons of people that need this skill, but there's just not enough people out there to, serve client demand. So yeah, my next steps are finding more clients and then either working with this company and then integrating myself as like an AI specialist or something like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And once you learn a new skill and you start, gaining that experience, like you do start to see when you have conversations with people, you start to think, oh, well, if they're doing it like this, well, I could probably set up a workflow. Like there's an API that could help them with this, and they could use the Google Sheets, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
you start
Yeah.
thinking like that. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's a good or a bad thing, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
can
that's
be
an interesting one.
useful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like what that guy at the company mentioned, like, yeah, we out and do lots of sales and lots of emails, and like my brain resisted manual work. I was like, man, I'm building an agent, I'm building a workflow for this. I refuse to do that. I think I think it's a good thing.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, so much opportunity, man. It's incredible.
yeah. That's great. I just think
Mm.
when I'm hanging out with friends or like going to the coffee shop or something, I'm just like I'm having these conversations. I'm like, just like, oh yeah, so like we could build an app for that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Intrusive thoughts
yeah.
sometimes, but uh, if
Good way
someone's
to be.
if someone's watching
Mm.
this right now and they're maybe in a similar position to you, or maybe they're a CEO and they already have a company with a bunch of manual work that they're trying to automate, like what would you tell somebody who is maybe sitting on the fence, like considering the mentorship, but it's not fully like not taken that leap yet?
Mhm. Um, in general, there's a lot of bad actors online, so you see it happen a lot online where people either get scammed or they generally online they'll have quite a bad experience and then find it hard to invest in a mentorship or a course or something along those lines. But um, I wasn't too skeptical. I think that was just my nature. But after I had experienced the first week, seeing the amount of value you were putting in the first week, I was automatically hooked because I was like, well, it's going to get better over time. And if you're on the fence, if you're a CEO, either looking to get in on the mentorship yourself or you're looking to get some of your employees in, I think that is probably one of the best decisions you'll make moving forward. I won't speak too much into detail on the mentorship, but there's a couple of other people that have multiple employees in this mentorship, and I think these guys are going to be absolutely crushing it. The fact that they have multiple people. So if you're on the fence, give it a crack. I've found a ton of value from it, and now I can go on and do what I want, whether it's clients or, yeah, again, massive leverage, and yeah, there's no harm in trying it out for a month.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
and just if someone's watching, like, what did you get the most value out of? Was it like the the group calls, the content, the feedback in the
Mhm.
school group? What was there something that was like, more useful than the others or no?
Mhm. Um, a lot of high value content, which is great. Um, that was one big part. Another big part was the immediate feedback you had. So if I was building an agent, and I was stuck anywhere, I could reach out to you and I could send you a video of where I'm stuck. And you're obviously quite patient as well because as a beginner, you don't even know what to talk about. So you've kind of gone in there and you're quite patient with it. And yeah, you kind of just nudged me in the right direction. So the direct feedback is, I think, was the biggest thing within this mentorship. So yeah,
All right, Stephen. Well, appreciate you sharing all that, and thanks for taking the time for yeah having this conversation.
of course, man. It's a pleasure doing business.
Thank you.
Thanks for teaching me, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.